Coach. I was talking with a coach last week who we're in conversation about possibly working together. And she had some homework to do between our first call and the second call that we had scheduled. And she came on our second call and I asked her, so how'd it go? How did your week go? What happened? And this homework was meant to be scary and exciting and really get her moving in the direction she said she wants to go. And she got on the call and she was like, well, I kind of didn't do anything. I didn't do it. And she felt really bad about it. And so then I got curious, as one does, as a coach. Well, what happened? How come there was no movement, even though there was this thing you were so excited about to do, to create, to have in your life? You were so set on doing that. And she's like, I got stuck. I didn't know how to be with myself on the inside, how to motivate myself, how to, where to come from. Because I just couldn't get myself to do this thing. And she said, I hear in the coaching industry, and you might know what we're talking about here. She said, I hear in this coaching industry, these two different ways of being, coming from, relating to yourself on the inside, in order to be able to create what it is that you want. One of them over here is this sense of be who you are. Just be you. Do it all super authentically, do it vulnerably, be the real you, right? And sort of break the chains of conditioning and rules and shoulds and all the ways that we've been taught within our family culture or social culture, what is expected of us and what, women do or people of a certain profession do or what a high achiever is. You should, la, 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 la. And I feel at the point that we're a coach, we got to the point where we're like, oh yeah, that's not us. And we're on this path of personal development and self-discovery. So being the authentic you makes a lot of sense. Be you. So that, I would say, on a spiritual journey is a really great first step. Get to that. What is it that you believe? What is it that you want? How is it that you like to work? What are you? Who are you? But then she was like, but if I'm just being me, if I'm being truly authentic in what I want in this very moment all the time, all I really want is to sit on the couch. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Got you there. I totally get it. Especially, come here, little buddy. Especially when you have a cutie patootie with you. I mean, why would I do anything? Really, sometimes it's very hard. I'm sorry, I woke you up. I love you. Oh, fun. Right? Like that's it. That's all I want to be doing. Christina, is a version of Christina. All she wants to really be doing is hanging out on the couch with Fluffy. That's it. That is the genuine expression of what I want to be doing on this Friday morning. So there's that part of her. She said, and then there's this whole other camp in the coaching industry that talks a lot about being and creating your being, right? So writing documents, right? Like who you be, how you think, how is the person that you're creating in the future. There's a really good Dan Sullivan exercise about that. That person in the future who you're going to become after you succeed at this thing that you're creating, how is that person in the world being, right? So someone who creates the 7-figure business or creates the really impactful change at work and becomes this thought leader or whatever it is that your dream is, how are they being? Go research how other people are or you project how other people are. Who are creating the things that you want to be creating. How do they be in the world, right? And then through different kinds of affirmations and through writing manifestos and you kind of like create yourself in this way by doing exercises, by working with your thinking, you be this person in the future already now that you're creating, right? But she's like, but that's not really me. That's like, I'm putting on a mask of somebody that isn't me, and I'm sort of trying to live into that until I create that. And I'm like, yeah, that's like, we all know that advice, right? Act as if, until it's true, and then it eventually becomes true. I've done that a lot. It's worked. It's been quite effective, at different times in different ways. So create your being, this other over here that is foreign to me, but I aspire to and want to create to be reality, and then live into that. But then she's conflicted because it's like, yeah, but that's not actually genuine, right? Which one is it? So she came on the call and she was like, which one should I lean into in order to create this thing? And I thought that was a very interesting question and conundrum, because I understand. And my take on it is on this sort of spectrum, where there's the real me, who I really, really am, and this acting as if a totally foreign person to me, that I want to create. From my own experience, and a lot of work over 20 years at this point, I wrote a manifesto. Some of you might have seen it. You may have seen it. It's called the Edgewalker Manifesto. There's a video called 26 Ways to Come Ecstatically Alive. And one of the items on there, one of the fundamental truths of how to live a good life, according to Christina Berkeley, says, be fluid with your identity. And within that, there is a presupposition that your identity changes, that it can change. And it isn't this fake thing, and it isn't a fixed thing. It's fluid, and it changes, and you're able to loosen whatever is calcified in what you think your identity is. It's like my ego. It's like, these are my preferences. I'm someone who, that's just how I am. You know that saying? That's just how I am. I hate that saying so much. Because ultimately, you do enough meditation, you do enough plant medicine, you do enough somatic work, you do enough, you can create all sorts of experiences for yourself, where you kind of have these experiences of like, oh wait, I'm actually very different than I was 10 years ago. Some things are the same, some things are different. And peel enough layers away, you get to where there really is no you. This identity that you have is basically a set of learnings you've had throughout your life because of different reasons. Some of it is formal education, right? Some of it is stuff on TV. Some of it's what your family told you, or what your church told you, or what your friends told you, right? And we become these identities, right? And then we change them. That's first 40 years of our life, and then we're like, oh, wait a minute, we got to change that. But if you flip all that away, underneath it, there's just awareness, just pure awareness, right? And that's kind of scary, because the ego is like, I don't want to die. There's a me. There's a real me. And it's like, well, what if there isn't? It's okay to be scared. And also, let's just pretend for a second, imagine that it's just empty and pure and awareness and consciousness. That is you. That has learned some things and can do some things well, and there are some brain maps and brain neurons that are firing a lot, and so it's easier to fire that way. But if it's true that there isn't really a you, there's just sort of like you like to be, or you're used to being, and we can change. We have access. Think of a keyboard. Right, like a piano key, there's the white keys, and there's the black keys, and there's the really low notes, and then there's the really high notes, and there's all sorts of ways to play the piano. There's like major scales that are happy, and minor scales that are sad, and like dissonant stuff that sounds crazy weird. And then there's like perfect chords that just are like dong, enlightenment. Think of a piano. Well, what if you had access, you actually had within your capacity all of it? What if you were all of it and none of it? It's this paradox, right? It's like a Zen koan. You can just get to that non-dual place of I'm truly just an empty vessel. And when we're in our flow states, so as a coach, for example, when I'm coaching, I get to be in that state where there's no Christina there. There's just being with somebody. And then there's like, oh, this situation right now at the cocktail party, D sharp Christina would do the best here with these people in this given scenario. Christina making videos for coaches, for my audience, for people I really care about and want to help. This is more like third octave G Christina. It's like, okay. And for me, it's come to a place where I'm not looking to pretend or act like a D sharp Christina or a G Christina. It's more like I'm remembering a time in the past where I've actually felt that. So think of an angry version of yourself, a time you were really angry, a time you actually told a lie, a time that you were so extremely generous, a time when you were really happy, a time you were really confident, a time where you weren't doubting yourself, a time where, right? We can think of all of these times, those moments have happened. You've actually been that already. It's there. It's within you. You just forgot, right? That's an easy way to access it. And it's like, oh yeah, it's not something I can work into the future. It's already there. It's resourced within me. I just have to remember and tap in. And the better and better you get at being clear, getting underneath the thinking, getting quiet, opening that channel of nothing where there is no you at all, the easier it is to access all of the other options of the yous. That is everything. You're everything also. I love that movie. Everything, everywhere, all at once. It's just like overwhelming how much there is within us. Yeah. And you just pull out that wisdom and it's like, this one right now is going to serve me the best. I'm going to pick that one. Yay. We don't need, we're human. We get attached to them. We have some that we like, no, I'm never bad. I have a lot of clients who are like, I don't want to be a bad person. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do sales because I don't want to be a bad person, right? It's like, first of all, sales is not bad. Secondly, I don't know anyone who's not been a bad person at some point. It's there. It's like pretending that it isn't there is going to make us do it sideways in weird ways because we're kind of like lying to ourselves about the fact that we have the entire mandala within us. Given the right circumstance, we can do anything if it's the right, appropriate response in that moment. Isn't that powerful? It's like unleashing the superpower. You don't have to pretend create it. You just have to find it. There, just get clear. You are already the being that you want to be, who's going to create this incredible business for yourself. You already have that. Just tap in. That's the practice. That's the practice. I like to frame it that way the best. I find that that works for me and it works for my clients, and it's a really fun way to develop on the journey of a spiritual being walking this planet, helping other people. Enjoy.